people like to make fun of me because when I was younger and before I started playing the guitar, I was a massive NSYNC fan. Loved, loved, loved. Like I still have my Live at Madison Square Garden VHS tape. For those of you younger folks out there, that's the big square black thing you put in a thing and have to rewind. And so when I started playing the guitar, I realized that I couldn't play a lot of that music on guitar. So then I sort of switched over to kind of the more rock stuff.
Rob Ruckus,
Nick Collins,
Kate Clover,
Keith Semple,
Isaiah Mitchell,
Billy Harvey,
Tim Howard. Check it out, Almost Famous Magazine.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Hang right here on Almost Famous Magazine. I'm your host, Scott Saldinger. Thank you for coming to hang with us, getting to know musicians, learning their stories well beyond just their music. If you're new to the channel, your first time here, please, you know what to do. You've heard it on other channels. We could really use the help. I'm going to tell you right now, the bands who join us can really use the help. It gets the word out. Hit the button, subscribe, ring the bell. You know what to do. I should have to tell you, but this is a good reminder. Now, if you've been here before, we love that you came back to check us out. But if you told your friends about us, what are you waiting for? Also, look, my mother loves my face. You may not, but if you take your podcast on the go, you don't have to look at me, but you can still listen to us. Go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere you get your audio podcasts. On The Hang today, look, you know I'm excited because this band hails from where? Las Vegas. And we know we've had a lot of amazing Las Vegas guests on The Hang. We're going to turn up the volume with Crimson Riot. They are a high-energy Las Vegas pop-punk trio led by powerhouse vocalist and guitarist Roxy Gunn, alongside Chris Reject and Ryan J. It's a family-fueled outfit. Somebody said that they're like the punk rock Partridge Family, which is an amazing reference. But do people really know who they are anymore? We can talk about that. By iHeartRadio's Bobby Bones. Since erupting on the scene in 2017, they've blown up with catchy anthemic records like My Voice Doesn't Sound So Good. That's not the name of the record, but we're going to get through. Classic punk for trashy people. And it took an apocalypse. They won Topgolf's Who Will Rock You and are now ripping through their third LP, Third Time's a Charm, with a fiery new single, Cross the Line. Get ready for raw stories from their DIY roots, road-tested punk wisdom. We're going to have a lot of fun today. And I'm so excited to have Crimson Riot with us. Oh my God, come on, I got to get it together. Roxy, Chris, and Ryan, welcome to the Hang.
Hey.
Hi, thanks for having us.
We could change our name to Crimson Riot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that.
Why not? I mean, look, do any of you have a stutter?
Who cares?
We would love to start this story, and I think it's going to be fascinating because you're probably going to tell it together, I think, more than individually, given that you're the Partridge Family of punk. But we'd like to start at the beginning. So, I'll start with Roxy. Guys, chime in, because if it's a shared story, but how did your relationship with music begin? Did music find you, or did you find music? What's your origin story?
So I like to say that I was born into it more than anything. I come from a long line of musicians, and I come from a very unique family that when I came to them and said, I think I want to be a rock star instead of a doctor, they were super stoked about it. And so I just kind of started from there. I started singing when I was really young. My mom was a singer, dad the drummer, grandma's a pianist, great-grandparents do music, cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody's musicians, my brother. It just kind of runs in our blood. And so I don't know if I necessarily had a choice. It just kind of was there always.
Why aren't they on with us today? I mean,
I know, right?
This is like the Partridge Family and Brady Bunch kind of thing happening. That's
100%.
That's a lot of people. When you first
RJ's at work.
Yeah.
RJ would be here, but he's at work right now.
Yeah.
When you did start that relationship, I'm always curious, what were some of the musical influences? What were you listening to in the beginning of your journey, considering now you've landed possibly far afield?
So people like to make fun of me because when I was younger and before I started playing the guitar, I was a massive NSYNC fan. Loved, loved, loved. Like I still have my Live at Madison Square Garden VHS tape. For those of you younger folks out there, that's the big square black thing you put in a thing and have to rewind. And so when I started playing the guitar, I realized that I couldn't play a lot of that music on guitar. So then I sort of switched over to kind of the more rock stuff. My parents were super into like 80s hair metal and prog, so it was it was a pretty abrupt shift.
So you were gonna like any chance you could ever do like prog punk? If you thought about that one?
Oh, absolutely. And it's so funny you should ask, because there is a small prog nugget in one of our songs that Chris is very proud of.
Oh, well, if you bring up Chris, you get to talk about your origin story, and then I'd love to hear about the little nugget or Easter egg you've got going there. Because I mean, I'm also a prog fan as well as ska and punk. So
Yeah, well, and okay, so that's even better, because the prog nugget happens in a ska song that we have, and we're very fortunate that on this song we actually got Chris Grau from the band Loser, and Craig and Dan from Buck09 to put some horns down on it. So we're super excited. But there's a little tiny prog nugget in that song, and we're just hoping people catch it and just go, wait a minute, we're going to leave it to people.
So if I hear it, I'll recognize it. So are we talking like King Crimson, Rush, Genesis? I mean,
it's a very recognizable Rush lick.
Nice.
That's all I'm going to say.
What a year to throw a little Rush into your music. I mean, come on. I mean,
Yeah.
Agreed.
They're trending this year.
Yeah, but my origin story is not nearly anything like Roxy or Ryan's. My family had a little bit of music. My mom was a dancer, but not anybody else in my family played anything. It just, I grew up listening to vinyl records. I have a collection right over here, but my dad had a point that it was to influence, like, just get music into our lives when we were young. And Saturday morning, he would just wake us up with a different vinyl record, and Creedence, Clearwater Revival, and Blondie were the ones that I kind of gravitated towards constantly. And I mean, my first crush at 6 years old was, Debbie Harry on the Parallel Lines album. I'm going to marry a woman like that someday.
Good choice.
Yeah. That's my origin story.
That's your, okay. But did that, like, you heard the music, but what got you to say, okay, I want to make the music. I want to learn the art of doing what they're doing. How did that happen?
It just, when I was leaving elementary school, and they're like, hey, you're going into junior high, and they have all these activities you can do. And I saw a band on there, and I'm like, okay, that'd be cool. Like, I want to learn how to be in a band. So I picked up saxophone, and because I was like, I don't know what instrument I want to play. So saxophone was like the first one. I was like, all right, I'll play that. And I just never stopped playing music, and got into high school and got bored of playing saxophone. So I learned how to play drums, and I was a drummer for a punk rock band and a ska band. And then when they broke up, I was like, I'm going to buy a guitar and make my own punk band. And just, I just wanted to have something to do with music.
Well, I mean, being a prog fan and a drummer, you didn't decide to, just go all out, buy an extra like 10 sets of toms and go full on Neil Peart or Phil Collins. I mean,
as a punk rock drummer, I had way too much gear to be a punk rock drummer. I was the guy that played with the full rack of toms. I had 3 crash cymbals and a china plus a ride, 2 snares. Like, it was obnoxious how much equipment I had for a punk rock drummer.
2 snares.
I
had 2 snares.
Did people show up and go, wait a minute, is Frank Zappa here tonight? I mean, were they wondering, is this a fill-in drummer? Where's the actual punk drummer? What was happening there?
Yeah, it took a couple of years of punk drumming that I said, why am I doing this? I was like, too much gear to set up. So that's why I bought a guitar, and was like, less gear.
I got a guitar, I got an amp. You don't have to emphasize that much.
One pedal, that's it. That's all I needed.
Sometimes the KISS principle works best.
Yeah.
Right?
Less is more.
I'm not talking about the band. Right, less is more. Ryan, how about you? Tell me your musical origin story.
Oh my gosh, it's a long one, but I'll try to go quickly. But I started playing when I was really little. However, so my parents were singers, or they're singers, and my parents really wanted me to like be in, the New York Philharmonic or some big, professional orchestra. And so when I started taking lessons, I was learning from these incredible players, but they were teaching me like more of like symphonic percussion. And I loved it, and I learned a lot. I learned all the rudiments, and I learned all the technique, and blah 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 blah. And then one day, I want to say I was like 8 or 9, maybe. I don't know. I forget how old I was, but my parents had one of those gigantic wooden console stereos in the living room, right? That has the TV, the record player, the radio, the 8-track, whatever was in there. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the radio dial and I'm like, there are so many numbers on here. I want to hear what's on these numbers. So I start all the way to the left at like 88 and I just start turning it. And I'm listening to, most of it was like mariachi at the beginning, and then there was like some talk radio, yada yada. And then I land on this station that was coming out of Fresno, California. And I hear Journey. I hear Journey for the first time. And I'm like, oh my God, listen to these drums. Like, that's what I want to do. Like, okay, all this symphony crap can go out the window, dude. Wow, this sounds amazing. So I start listening to this station kind of religiously, like every day as a little kid. And I start hearing Zeppelin, and I'm hearing Blondie, and I'm hearing, Pat Benatar and Joan Jett, and I'm just going crazy. And I'm like, oh my God. So then I'm recording these songs on a cassette tape. When they come on off the radio, I'm recording them. And then later on, I would run into my room and put on these headphones and try to play along to the songs. And that was kind of my start right there. And that was my life from that point on.
I'm kind of curious if you were able to pick up a Fresno radio station. Were you living in Clovis, Visalia? Where?
Visalia, yeah. We're from Visalia originally. Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
they are. I'm from
Roxy
Vegas.
And I are from, yeah.
Well, as I tell people, like my friends, I was exiled to Fresno for 14 months, and then I dug a hole underneath the fence and got out in the middle of the night. And
we got out in 2000.
yeah. Well, you know who Well, I mean, you heard Journey out of Fresno. You know who else was from Fresno, right?
Oh, Doobie Brothers were from Visalia in that area.
Warren Zevon.
Oh, really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Me neither.
No, I didn't find out.
Either.
The biography was that was written by him after he passed. Was it the autobiography? I can't remember, but his ex-wife wrote a book, and it came out like a couple months after I left Fresno, and I'm like, son of a gun, I was there for 14 months, and I could have like found his childhood home, and I never did it. So,
oh man.
But Fresno does have some redeeming values. Musicians.
There's some stuff. There's some people
not
out
much
there.
else to do, so you would shed a lot.
We one of our best shows on a tour a few years ago. We did a quick little run, and it was our first time ever playing in Fresno, and it was killer. It was in a brewery. It was an all ages show. We got to play with the Coffin Cats, and actually it was great because that's actually how we became really good friends with the Coffin Cats. But Fresno was fun. I had a good time in Fresno.
I remember when I was there. We're going to get off topic because this is about you, but let's talk about the time Madonna went to play a concert there, and there wasn't a hotel nice enough. Like there wasn't like a 5-star, so she stayed on her plane the whole time.
Oh,
like she didn't even. That's all she stayed on the plane. I mean,
oh no, what a terrible life.
I know it's rough to be Madonna. It's definitely rough to be Madonna. We won't bash on her today. It's So how did this? I'm fascinated with how did you all come together, and then how did this Partridge Family thing come about? Like how did that moniker all start to happen? Who wants to tell that story?
Roxy, you go for it.
Yeah.
All right. So I was doing a lot of solo stuff for a long time. And I really wanted to be in a band. Like I really loved bands, and I always wanted to be in one. And I was in one when I was younger, And I just kind of wanted to keep that momentum going. Like I was tired of doing like acoustic shows by myself, and I just really wanted to play with other people. And so like we had some players that like kind of wanted to play, but then kind of didn't, and it was kind of wishy-washy. So Ryan was like, you know, I'll play drums for you, and then we'll just find somebody to like play bass and guitar, and we'll just kind of just jam a little bit and just kind of get me out there. So Chris was in another band at the time and was like, well, I'll just play bass. Like, it's fine. Like, it's easy, right? It's just less strings. And it turns out he's a really great bass player. And so he joined, and then we had a guy named Victor who was playing with us. And this was like long before Crimson Riot. So we were just the Roxy Gunn Project at the time. And we played as the Roxy Gunn Project. We had original music and we did covers all throughout Vegas and stuff like that. And our lead guitar player that we had at that time just kind of wanted to try some other stuff. You know, he was kind of burnt out, and which was understandable. We were working like crazy. Like we were super busy. And so he left, but we had a tour booked, and we kind of looked at each other and were like, hey, what do we do? Do we get another guitar player? We felt kind of weird about that because, you know, John really like put his heart and soul into those songs, and we didn't feel right having somebody else learn them. So we're like, okay, well, we could just like do a different band, I guess. Like we can just try to, you know, do that, because what's the point of taking a band on tour that's not together anymore? It's kind of weird. So Ryan was like, what if we just like had fun and just like played shitty punk songs and like played these shows and stuff? And we were kind of like, I mean, maybe like that sounds kind of fun, I guess. So we started just kind of tossing around, like, what do we call ourselves? So we just, you know, spitballing. We stayed up till like 4 a.m, just like talking about different names. And I just kind of said,
we were using that band name generator thing. Remember, we were messing around with that too.
But nothing good came out of all those. They were so bad.
It was so funny though. It was fun.
Yeah, it was really bad. But so we were just like goofing around. And so I had red hair at the time when we first started. And I was trying to think of something like red or like something like that. And so I just said, what about like
Scarlet?
Yeah, it was like all this different stuff. So I said, well, what about like Crimson Riot? And so Ryan was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Yes, that's great. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll talk about it tomorrow. So we all lived together, and we come into the kitchen the next morning, and he's like wired because he had like 8 pots of coffee and was like, okay, I've got the website, I've got the logo, I got the Facebook, I got the thing. And we're like, for what? He's like, for Crimson Riot, the new band. And we're like, oh, okay, so I guess that's what we're called now.
So the band is truly a democracy. I get it. Everybody has
100%,
really
yeah.
equal votes in that one.
Yes, definitely. But he just kind of went for it, and we're like, okay, like whatever, this is fine.
Well,
and
we had like a couple weeks to like put it together, so I thought we
had like no time.
Okay, that's what we're doing. Cool, let's go. And then I just went for it. So
yeah. So from that point, we so that was in 2017, and we had our first show. We wrote 9 songs in like 2 weeks. We rehearsed them. We had our first show with the Bomb Pops like a few weeks later. And like a couple weeks after that, we had a tour. And so we just kind of like were hitting the ground running. We're like, okay, we're a new band now. Like, just go for it. And I'd say so far it's worked out okay.
No?
I think we, you know, we're right there on the, you know, we're still learning.
And the punk rock partridge family thing came from doing the Top Golf competition. And Chris and I are married, and then Ryan's my dad. So Bobby Bones called us the punk rock partridge family. Nice. Come on, get happy. Yeah.
Now do you do a punk version of the Partridge Family theme show as part of your set?
No.
Why aren't
maybe
you?
we should. Yeah, maybe we should do that.
Oh, you totally should.
Great idea.
Oh my God, absolutely.
All right, you get marketing credit for that one, Scott.
Look, next time I come to Vegas, if you guys are playing, I expect to hear that. Forget using the original. Like if you're not using the original as your walk-on, you gotta at least come up with your own.
I was about to say, yeah, maybe we should just do a walk-on with a punk rock version of it.
Yeah, I think that would be super cool. I think that would be super cool. So let's you know, you've got classy punk for trashy people, and it took an apocalypse. 3rd time's a charm, right? tell me about the new album. We're going to go back to the other two in a minute, but tell us about the new album, what people can expect. Kind of, since you guys are really prog artists, it's got to be like a thematic thing, or maybe it's a prog opera. I don't know, but give us some insight into like the songwriting, how you guys write together, who handles what, along the way, and we'll take it from there.
I'll start this one off. The songwriting it's kind of all of us. I tend to just sit here and riff a lot on my bass. Like before, we still work as a cover band. And so we'll be getting on stage, waiting for whatever time we're supposed to start, get done with sound check. And we all wear in-ear monitors. So it's like only I can hear, and I'll just start riffing and it's like, oh, that sounded cool. And I'm like, oh, let's see and I'll just take my phone out, just record it real quick with the notes. And then when it's time for us to like sit down and start writing, it's like, hey, does anybody have anything? And, I have my phone's full of just tiny little portions. I'm like, hey, what do you guys think of this? What can we do with this? And then we kind of, we workshop it together. It's like, hey, I got this. This is the idea. This is what I'm hearing. And then, we all three of us just start jamming it out. And then, we kind of go, all right, Roxy's going to take lead vocals on this song. Or if it's something that I'm like really passionate about, I'll be like, I'm taking this one. I have an idea for lyrics on this one. And then, Ryan writes his parts. And Roxy and I will work. She writes all of her own lyrics by herself. She has no input from any of us because she is a mastermind behind writing lyrics. I'll write lyrics and she kind of goes, this is cute. We'll put this on the fridge and then we're going to rework this.
It's not that
just
bad.
so,
it's
yeah.
not that bad.
It's sometimes I feel like Ringo Starr. They're just like, oh, this is nice. We'll put this right here on the fridge. And it's like, hey, wait, hold on. But then, and then from there, we just, we'll demo it out to ourselves. We always record if we're rehearsing, we always have our stuff set up. And if we get through a song, it's like, okay, let's record this. And then I will listen to all of our demos ad nauseum and go, all right, this is the part we're cutting. This is where we're trimming the fat. We need to change this part. And then we come back and kind of reshape it, because when you're writing something right at the beginning, you're just like, oh, everything sounds cool. Let's add all this stuff. And then after 3.5 minutes, then you're just like, all right, we got a song. And then you listen back, you're like, well, there's 45 minutes we could just scrap because it does not make sense to this song. And that's basically how we write.
I knew you were prog rock artists for sure. See, the whole punk thing is a sham. It's really prog.
Yeah.
You've got 45-minute songs. So you can't fool me. I know a good prog artist when I see one. Roxy, where do you like? So it's interesting, and I've been talking. We did a whole series of episodes for Dollfest, and we talking about a lot about femme-fronted bands, and kind of the femme-fronted music. It's not a resurgence; it's kind of a surgence in punk, right? I mean, there's a ton of punk bands that
Absolutely.
are female. Where do you find your inspiration for your lyrics? Number one, and number two, being out there at front. Do you what are you trying to get across to people, being that, you're trying to make a wave in and guys, I mean, it is what it is, what's traditionally been a fairly, kind of a pale male business, right? So, give me some insight onto that. And then what it's like to be in that role and what it means to you.
Sure. I think the music industry as a whole has been really since its infancy, it has been really one-sided as far as fairness, as far as opportunity, not just for, even women, but just like people of color in general. It's just kind of been a really, like you said, a pale male sort of industry. And to see not only women starting to come forward, but like a lot of queer people, a lot of LGBTQ plus people coming through, a lot of people of color, like really making their mark, especially in the punk industry, is just like one of the most amazing things. And I'm just like so grateful to be part of a group that really pushed the limit of what a lot of people were allowing us to do. and it's awesome. It's really great, and the camaraderie between us is fantastic, because in a lot of genres you get kind of it's kind of clicky, and it's a little weird sometimes, and there's like a lot of competition, and there's like some tear down, and kind of, it's not really like, oh yeah, well, like we're all whatever, so we should just all be whatever and support each other. But in the punk industry, in the punk scene, I've found a lot of friends, a lot of really great support, and we try to do the same, and I try to do the same, and we just lift each other up a lot, and it's a really refreshing place to be, because it's not always like that. And especially as coming from multiple different genres, coming as somebody that's in a cover band, it's like I've been a product before, and so it's nice to be amongst other people where you're not just a product. Like, you're an artist, you're a creative, you're a person, you're someone with a story, and you get to share it, and that's really important, and I am very grateful to be part of that.
Nice. And I'll be honest with you, I really love the sentiment you have. We'll probably get to, since you're in Las Vegas, we'll get to punk rock bowling a little later probably, but just going even to that festival, and the scene is so different than so many festivals of other genres, that it is a family reunion in so many ways, and it feels
Absolutely.
like home. So I really love the sentiment. When you're writing, where are you finding that inspiration for the ideas behind your songs, the lyrics, things like that? Where do you look to find those things in your life?
It sort of depends. I draw from a lot of life experience. I've been doing this for a really long time. And, kind of going back to being a woman in the music industry, there's a lot to pull from, good and bad. There's a lot of pros and cons to being in that sort of space. And it's just kind of there's a wealth of inspiration in that. And I also, on occasion, like to draw on other people's stories and not try to make them my own necessarily, but sort of present their struggle or their story in a way that they feel seen or heard without having to come out and say it themselves. Because I know that that's hard for people that feel like they don't get listened to, or they don't have a platform or whatever. So not to like take their story and use it as my own, but to just kind of give it a life and be like, hey, people feel like this, and everybody needs to realize that. And that's, I think, almost a responsibility that artists have sometimes, is to sort of be that voice for people that feel like they can't be a voice for themselves.
Yeah, I agree. And we live in an interesting world, because we'll project something through our social media, let's say, and it's always a bright, sunny day, so to say. But you never see people posting, lying on the floor of your walk-in closet in the fetal position crying because you're alone, right? And those people don't necessarily say those things, but it exists, and the stories need to be told. And we are creatures of the same emotions. So I like the way that you put how you address those things. And I think it's great that you're putting that out there. We're going to have links down below so that people can buy all your stuff, because we are huge proponents of supporting artists here at The Hang.
Thank you.
But I'm going to throw you kind of a curveball question that each of you gets one answer on, right? You have a catalog, okay? And you've got, across the lines, a single, right? And everyone's got to put a single out, right? At least one or two.
Yep.
But you have a catalog. So if you think of an artist's catalog as a meal, right? I want from each of you is one song that you feel it's in that catalog. Didn't have to be a single. But if someone is watching us today and they're new to you, Crimson Riot, okay? Which song do each of you feel is that appetizer to get them in for the meal? Like, is there a song that you feel really encapsulates, yeah, I got that right. Okay. Encapsulates 3 times. Beetlejuice. But it really encapsulates for you the essence of the band, that if someone hears that song or each of these or any of these, they're going to like, I want to get in the rest of the catalog and I want to start consuming what they're making. All right. So Ryan, I'm going to go to you first.
Okay. I think a great introduction to our band is the song "Hurt" off of the from
Classy
from
Funk.
the Classy Funk. Yes, I was like, do I want to say first album? Yeah, Classy Funk. Yeah, so I think that song had a huge impact, and I think a lot of people that listen to it and know the lyrics of it, it kind of really stuck out, and people went, "Wow, holy crap!" Like that's legit. I think a lot of people relate to that, even if they haven't experienced what the lyrics are actually about. There's so many ways to like interpret it, and I think a lot of people really resonate with that tune. So I think that's a great introductory song for people to hear us for the first time.
Cool. Chris, how about you?
I would say "Hurt" as well, but I'm gonna go a little different. I think for me it would be "Girl Fight." "Girl Fight" had more. I love "Hurt" and it's one of my favorite songs to play, but I think "Girl Fight" was grittier and there was more emotion coming out of Roxy during that song than "Hurt." So I would say if people want to see the future of Crimson Riot, it would be "Girl Fight."
Okay. Roxy, how about you? You're out in front. Which one is it for you?
I would have to say "Hurt" as well. "Hurt" is just kind of it's not only a crowd favorite, but it's one of the first songs that I really wrote without being afraid that like someone was going to hear it and go, "Is this about me?" Like I just didn't care. I was like, if the shoe fits, this is you. Like, if you feel
No, that's
attacked
another
by this
song.
song, yeah, it's another song. But I feel, yeah, "Hurt" is definitely a great introduction to us. As far as kind of, I almost want to say also our song "Gatekeeper" is another one that's really good for people to hear. They're both of those songs, "Hurt" and "Gatekeeper," are very different, but also very similar. So either way, if you're into that style of music, you're probably going to be intrigued to see what else there is.
Nice.
And I love
All
the
right.
fact that with "Gatekeeper," we also had an appearance by Matt Pinfield and Matthew Lillard.
All right. And people, you know where to go now. You know where to start. All right. Where you finish is by owning all their albums. That's where you finish. We want you to support the band. I know that we got together to talk about your music, but I got to be honest with you, we do love our Las Vegas bands, and we've been to punk rock bowling for a couple of years. We're all torn up about this year. We could probably spend an hour about that, but and then the new parking lot situation, but that's a whole other story. And I know exactly, Roxy. I did the same damn thing. I had the same eye roll.
Terrible decision.
I'm in Dallas. I get out. I go out and visit my money in Las Vegas every now and then. It's kind of like custody rights. But one thing I've noticed, and I'm always interested in people who live their opinion. To me, it's feeling like Austin, Texas used to feel in the music scene. There are so many great bands in Vegas. You don't go to Vegas for good music and just go to the Strip, right? There are so many places, so many venues, so many great bands. What do you think is really fueling the vibe for music in Las Vegas today, outside the traditional, come for the big production show, get out and see a band somewhere else? It's just so much great music is coming out of there. What's fueling that?
I would say that, especially in places like Vegas, things are expensive. People are being priced out left and right. And as someone who lives here and is watching this happen, especially someone who works in the strip music business at being in a cover band, it's really hard to see that kind of happen to our city. But there's also a shining light, because a lot of people are like, well, the Strip is expensive. Downtown is cheaper for sure. But where can I go? I mean, I'm in a ton of groups on social media. We have people asking all the time, like, what can I do that's not like Vegas? And boom, go to the Double Down. there's probably a great show. Go to Red Dwarf, go to Grey Witch, go to, the Griffin, go to any of these places that have these shows, because if it's ticketed, it's going to be like $20. Most of them are free, and you're supporting bands that really need support, because touring is hard and it's very expensive now. And I think that, there's kind of a light at the end of that tunnel for original music, because Vegas it's so rich. The Vegas music scene, original music scene, is so rich right now. And I can't fawn over it enough, honestly. There are so many great bands, so many great artists, so many great people within the scene. It's awesome. And I urge anybody, if you're coming to Vegas, like, if you want to see a Cirque show, great. That's awesome. That's Vegas. If you want to go see the Golden Knights or the football team we have, that's fine. But do yourself a favor and find a local show. Just try it. Just see a band, because they're all really great and they work really hard, because it is hard, because we're constantly combating everything else. I mean, we're the entertainment capital of the world. So obviously on any given night, there's 10,000 other things happening. So where the support is really needed is within our local community. And it's thriving. Like, there's a lot of great bands that are doing a lot of great things, and it's an awesome scene to be a part of.
Yeah, no, I mean, the vibe out there is just incredible. I mean, look, and I tell people all the time, you want to have a fun evening? Go to Batista's for a $35 dinner, drink $85 worth of wine, get a to-go cup, and then stumble your ass over to the Double Down, start doing shots of ass juice, and love punk all night long.
100%.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. I mean, the Double Down is amazing. I mean, PMOS he's an incredible individual, I got to tell you. And then you can go down, also, if you decide you're going to go down to the Fremont area, don't go to the middle of Fremont. Go to the end of Fremont. Like, go get a slice of evil pie.
Fremont East.
Right?
Fremont East.
Fremont East is where it's at. But yeah, I mean, just great bands and musicians.
I was going to say, Fremont East is where we had our very first show at the former Beauty Bar. Was our very first show as Crimson Riot.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
yeah, I mean, since last May, I think a couple of places have either changed names or gone under and reopened. Yeah,
that's happening a lot. It's because everything's so expensive, but a lot of places have just come and gone. Beauty Bar's now an ice cream shop. It's like a adult ice cream. Insert Coins is now Disco Pussy. It's like everything's changing down there constantly. We're down there, 3 times a month, and we're like, I don't recognize any of this.
And even Hogs and Heifers has moved. They're opening up somewhere else, and it's crazy. I mean, we are bummed that there's not going to be punk rock bowling this year. And everybody's got their fingers crossed.
So can we give you something? Can we give you like an exclusive?
Sure.
So we know everybody is bummed about punk rock bowling, and I mean, I've been to almost every single one of them since it was created. I've watched it grow from a small club way off of the strip into the festival it is today. With that being said, though, last year we started our own mini festival for those that weren't going to the main festival, but were going to club shows. So we were doing 2 days at Hennessy's Tavern down on Fremont Street, and it was called Riot on Fremont. It was our own music festival. And so because punk rock bowling canceled, we said, well, all these people are still coming to Vegas. So we're actually throwing our own music festival that weekend, Memorial Day weekend in Las Vegas. There's some things still in play right now, but we had open submissions in November. We had 200 bands from across the country submit to play the festival. So there's still something actually going to happen that weekend. And we hope people will check it out. I didn't send the link to it, but I'll make sure you get it. But it's Riot on Fremont. And we're going to be announcing bands soon, and we're going to announce all the information. But yeah, we're throwing our own festival because we love punk rock bowling for what you've said. It was a family reunion. It was about just coming into one place and seeing all of our friends. Roxy and I used to host a radio show, And Roxy and I would wake up at 9 a.m, go to the bowling, do some interviews, go to the main festival, do some more interviews, go to the club shows, more interviews, and then wind up at the Golden Nugget Circle Bar until 3 o'clock in the morning, and then do it all over again the next day. So it's like we want the same thing, and that's what we're going to be doing. So we hope people will come out and enjoy themselves.
Well, then, if that's the case, we need to talk. I haven't canceled my downtown Grand reservation, although I'm hoping. I don't even know if the hotel is going to still be in, there when I get there. It'll be open.
It will. That one's good.
That's a whole nother.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, look, you should at least get a quart of Penske oil when you stay there, as as a parting gift. But here, leave, and here's some oil to get in your car to go home. But maybe we should talk. I mean, look, I have not canceled my my reservation, and we done 2 years. It took us a little while to get into punk rock bowling, and then 2 years ago I went and covered everything. I mean, and that was amazing. At Devo Madness, which that was took it to a whole nother level. And then last year we had multiple photographers. We beat everybody to their coverage. I mean, it was just, we did live from the downtown Grand Pool, and we did all stuff. So, maybe there's something we can do together. We'll talk offline about it for sure. But everybody, you got your exclusive. There's going to be something in Vegas. So don't necessarily cancel your reservation yet.
Yeah, don't.
Check it out. The link will be below.
Come hang.
Chris, you said that you've gone to punk rock bowling since it began. Can you share with me like 1, 2, maybe 3 of your out of all those years, biggest moments, and what they meant to you?
I got some funny stories if you like that. The first time I ever heard of the band Avenged Sevenfold was at the Gold Coast, and they were passing out their very first demo. They had just gotten signed to Hopeless, and they were walking around, and I didn't know who they were, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're looking to play Vegas." And at the time, I was still in my punk rock band that I was drumming for, and I'm like, "I can get you to Vegas." And I took the demo and I just threw it in the back seat. I never listened to it. I don't know what happened to it. I feel bad now. Yeah, I know, right?
Whoops.
And then when punk rock bowling moved to Sunset Station, I was hanging out with my friends from the Phenomenauts. They were a band out of San Francisco, out of Oakland, and it was early in the morning, and it was me and their drummer Jimmy Boom, who's playing now with is it the Slackers? Yeah, Jimmy's playing. He's the drummer for the Slackers now, and we were at the Starbucks hanging with Spike from Me First, and it was early in the morning, and these 2 ladies walk up, and they said to Spike, "Excuse me, can you take a picture?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, I'm all in. Let's do this." And he put his arms around them, and they looked at him really confused, what's going on? And they're like, "No, can you take a picture of us?" The 2 women just wanted a picture, and the look on Spike's face, I will never forget this look, because it just, all the color washed out of him. And so he takes the picture and hands the phone back, and he's like, "I can't believe that happened," because he had just performed the night before. And so I'm getting ready to leave. I had to go to work, and I was like, "Hey guys, it was good hanging with you guys. See you guys later." I was like, "Hey Spike, can you take a picture?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." I hand him my phone, and I stand next to Jimmy, and I put my arm. All I hear is, "You're a motherfucker, Chris." Yeah. So, but I mean,
I love that.
That's awesome.
There was this was punk rock bowling 5, 6. I'll look again. I can't remember, but they only had 1 show the whole weekend, 2 shows, and one night was Flogging Molly and oh god, who played Franks and Dean's last show there? It was Throw Rag. It was Flogging Molly and Throw Rag, but the next night was No Effects and Friends, and Love Equals Death was playing. So I was friends with Love Equals Death. They're like, "Hey, we got backstage passes. Come hang out with us." So I'm sitting in the green room at the House of Blues, and this drunk guy staggers into the room, and he's like, "This is not the party room." And we're like, "Nope." And he's like, "But you guys seem cool." So he starts talking and just talking about the band he's in. He's like, yeah, Vegas is never good for me. I broke my kneecaps here. And I'm just like looking at this guy and I'm like, I know him, but I don't. I was like, what band are you in? He's like, I'm in the Lawrence Arms. It was Brendan Kelly, just drunk off his ass. And I'm like, okay. So I'm standing watching No Effects from the wing and I just feel this arm come around me and it's Brendan Kelly. And he's like, I need another drink, and just walks away. And I was like, what just happened? Like I became Brendan Kelly's best friend that night.
You guys exchange Christmas cards?
He sends me mean tweets now.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's punk rock bowling was always something that just I loved everything that they were doing, and it's sad. It's just I think after 25 years, I think it was starting to run its course, and I I hope something takes its place, whether it be our festival or they do something different. I know there was a guy that used to work with punk rock bowling trying to do a new like traveling kind of punk rock thing, kind of like Warped Tour. I wish Kevin Lyman would just stop sitting around, counting his money and actually do Warped Tour for real.
For real.
And put Crimson Riot on it.
Absolutely.
Well,
yeah. And I hope, look, I hope, they just need a little breather, right? And they get their energy back and we see what comes out of it. So, it's definitely, it's just a different experience. I mean, it really is. You just don't get that feeling pretty much anywhere else. So we'll see what happens, but those are great stories. One of the things that we love doing here, is putting good stuff out in the world. It's important, right? We need to give out some love, some kindness, all that good stuff. So in the spirit of seeing what could happen, you never know. Ryan and Chris, you may have bucket lists. Roxy, you could be a vision board kind of person, maybe. I don't know. But we all have a dream of doing something with somebody somewhere in the world, that, having an experience, right? We all want some sort of experience. And sometimes it's the brass ring of experiences. If each of you had a chance to spend a day in a studio with another musician or a producer, right? Preferably someone living, because if they hear this, maybe it'll happen, right? I mean, I'd love to connect you with Prince, but he's unavailable currently. I know. I know Ryan was really gonna be like Prince, and I'm like, nah, we can't do that one. But who would it be, and why them to be creative with? Chris, I'll let you go first on this one.
Oh, I think when you said producer, I watched all three of us just perk up. And there's I know collectively, I'll say the one person that we would love to work with is Butch Vig. I mean, the guy is just a genius and baller move when, if you've ever heard the story of how he got Shirley Manson, all they did was just send the Nirvana CD of Nevermind. It was like, this guy wants you for a band. It's like, that's just baller. But if I could be in the studio writing with somebody, I know who Roxy's going to say. But I would go with Matt Skiba. I would love to sit down and do a song with Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio. Because like I said, I know where Roxy's going to go, and I agree with her on that one.
Okay, so why him though? What makes him special for you?
I have an Alkaline Trio tattoo. I mean, I've always loved Matt Skiba's way of approaching songs, and I love lyricists who can twist words or make you vision, like just look at words a different way. And there's only a few songwriters that I feel have that. Like you can sing the words and people can be like, okay, but if you can twist the words around, you're just like, ooh, I never thought of it in that way. Like that's Matt Skiba. And I've always enjoyed his songwriting from the early days, even onto the newer stuff. I mean, well, the newer stuff is what it is, but I've always enjoyed, and yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? We're gonna leave Roxy for last, and we're gonna see if you're right, which she's gonna pick. So Ryan, who would it be for you?
Well, this is a tough one because like most of the people that I would want to do that with are passed now, which is really horrible. But I'm gonna go out on a limb on this one. So I think probably one of the most challenging. So I got kind of two. So the challenging one would be in the studio with Jordan Rudess of Dream Theater, the keyboard player of Dream Theater. He's just absolute the wizard, yeah. And so I think that would be really fun. I'm a real like technical junkie, so that's why I've been a prog fan forever. So Rush, Dream Theater, yes, like all that kind of stuff. So so I love all that. So like as far as like in the studio, definitely I would love to like write a song and drum with Jordan Rudess. I think that'd be amazing. And then of course, yeah, Butch Vig, obviously as a producer, like no question. Like, yeah, Chris is right on that one. Definitely
Well, I
would
mean,
want
look,
to have.
if anyone's watching and, maybe maybe you're his dog sitter, Butch's dog sitter.
Right. Mailman,
maybe,
whatever.
Maybe
yeah.
you date a relative. I don't know.
UPS
Come on,
delivery guy. Sure.
Right. Like maybe you're the Amazon person. You make the Amazon delivery to Butch's house.
You're the you're the Roland representative. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you're the sweet
okay,
one.
Roxy.
I would get to Milwaukee so fast. I would show up in Milwaukee with a bag of cheese curds and some spotted cow and be like, let's start this.
Right. Let's go. Yeah. So yeah.
All
So,
right, well,
anyway, that's it. That's for me. So.
All right, and everybody's got that assignment. Okay, Roxy, let's see if Chris predicted right. I almost feel like this is like a game show at this point. Was Chris right? We'll know by the look on his. Cross your fingers, Roxy. Who's your person?
So just as far as like producing goes, we're all pretty much in the same boat as Butch Vig, like that. He's great. Chris and I actually just went and saw Garbage, and they're just such a powerhouse band, and like everything he's done with that band has been absolutely amazing. But for me, as far as songwriting goes, I have to say, for me as a songwriter, I would love to see what myself and Billy Joe Armstrong could come up with together. So the Chris was right. That guy just has so much creativity, and it's just all good. Like everything he puts out it seems so effortless, but I know that it's not. And I would be really interested to see like what our brains could do together as far as songwriting goes. And I would love to try it. That's mine.
Chris, was your prediction correct?
Oh yeah. I've heard this before, and I know all the artists that she would love to work with, but I mean, recently, well, I say recently, but it's been a couple of years. We discovered that the Billy Joe Armstrong, Norah Jones album, that's just phenomenal, and just anytime Roxy hears those songs, I could just see just the creative like juices flowing, just like she wishes she was in that position. And I mean, I don't blame her, because I mean, Billy Joe Armstrong is the reason I even listen to punk. I mean, yes, I listened to Blondie growing up, but I didn't know what punk was. 1994, 11-year-old me with a Dookie cassette, I just mind blown. I'm like, that's the music I want to play right there. And then I played ska for some reason.
Well, and look, I mean, I know Billy Joe's been at it a while, but we're taping this before the Super Bowl. It may be challenging. They may actually hit it big after opening the Super Bowl. You never know. I mean, that whole Green Day thing could really take off. I got my fingers crossed for them.
Those boys have a lot of potential.
It does. It does. It has a lot of potential for them. This could finally be
break
their
them
big
finally.
opportunity.
Real nice kids.
Real nice
They've been
kids.
at it. Right. They've been at it for a while. All right. One other thing that we love to do. Number one is we believe, and everyone who sticks around to this point in the podcast knows, we support our artists. You buy tickets to shows. You purchase their music. Don't go renting it. Don't go stealing it. You purchase it. Art is not free. You buy their merch, okay? Because art is not free. You can't just go into a store and take a piece of art off the wall and take it home with you. You have to buy it. Nope. There's no reason to go steal somebody's music or like, listen to it on a platform where they're not going to make enough money to pay their electricity bill. So you really have to support artists, and you got to go out and support Crimson Riot, because as Roxy said, Las Vegas is definitely seeing its own challenges like everyone else in this country. They need to keep the lights on. So support the band. All the links will be down below. We wrap these things up, with a little bit of kind of let's get to know you is what you listen to when you're not making your own music. Like when you're out, when you go to the gym, when you walk the dog, maybe when you go climb red rocks and you're just out in nature, whatever, and you've got some music with you. What are a couple of artists that are feeding you each kind of passionately these days that you listen to a lot? I mean, Chris has a big record collection. Who are some, and look, we all know, we know that Ryan loves his Taylor Swift. We get that. But there are so many great
bands. Oh, you should have worn the shirt.
I know. I just thought about that.
Love.
I should have worn the shirt.
I'm going to throw out a little love for the Implosions, right? They're amazing. They've been on the podcast. Love the Implosions. Love the Minges. Crom Fallon, the dude, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
nice.
Just kicking ass. And let me tell you, one of my favorites is the Shakewells, and Rob Ruckus is just freaking amazing. Who are some bands that you're listening to when you're not making your own music that if you were sitting around with me and, we're sitting at the Double Down, we're going to do a couple shots of Ass Juice, and you're like, Scott, I got these people you got to listen to. You're going to love this shit. Who are a couple of them, and what is it? Sell them to me. What is it about them that you love about them? Ryan, you go first.
Okay. So this is weird for me because it's going to sound strange, but I don't listen to music, but I do. Okay, let me explain. So my playlist is pretty much made up of of all people I know. So if I know you, you're on my playlist. Because I'm trying to give love to like all our friends. So yeah, on my playlist, I've got the Hellflowers, and all those people you just mentioned, the Minges, blah, 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 the Hellflowers, Kids on Fire. Yes. Okay, our buddies up in Seattle, Kids on Fire. Hellflowers, Venomous Pinks out in Arizona, the Dickies. I mean, I could go on and on, even though Dickies are like a kind of a big band, but I'm really, really close with Adam Gomez, their drummer, and they're great people. But anyway, so my playlist is pretty much a friends list, essentially. So if I know you, or even if I've kind of met you and spent 5 minutes with you, you're on my playlist. So that's kind of what I'm listening to nowadays.
So what's the lesson, everybody watching? If you're in a band, you become friends with Ryan. He's going to start buying and listening to your music. So,
yeah, there you go.
Oh, dude.
Send him a Facebook friend request.
Yeah, during COVID was hilarious because like people were still like things were still in motion, right? Like before COVID, and then COVID hits and everyone's like, well, we have this album, we have nowhere to sell it, because we can't tour or do shows. So I'm buying everybody's record. Roxy had got me one of those little suitcase record players for Christmas. I think that Christmas before COVID.
2019, yeah.
Yeah, 2019, yeah. So I'm just like buying everybody's record that I knew. So if you were on Facebook and you're like, here's our record, I'm like, done. So I have this whole crazy collection of records of people that I know. So
there you go. Get your record bought. Get to know Ryan.
There you go.
Chris, How about you?
He took all the ones I was going to say, but definitely the Hellflowers are some of the sweetest people we have ever met. They are amazing musicians. If you sit down and talk with the Hellflowers, you're in for a treat because they're just lovely people. Kids on Fire out of the Pacific Northwest, out of Seattle. Our new album, Third Time's a Charm, their guitar player and singer, Johnny Larson, he actually drew our album cover. And so he's an amazing tattoo artist. He actually did my Fallout tattoo, and I have one on the back of my leg. So definitely check them out. And then there's a band here in Vegas called The Out There. They're all pro guys. Every single one in that band are in cover bands around town, and they got together and formed an original band, and they are just some of the best musicians in town. So I got to give love to the out there, not just because I shot their music video, but they're decent guys.
Well, I will tell you that I've met the Hellflowers because they've been on the Hang as part of our All Right coverage. So yes, fabulous human beings. You're absolutely right. How about you, Roxy? You when I mentioned it, your head started to twirl a little bit, and I saw the gears moving. So what are you thinking?
It's kind of the same playlist. I mean, obviously we've played with a lot of these people before, and we've gotten to know them really well, and they're all amazing people, incredible artists. And I'm just trying to think I could have a list as long as all of our arms put together of incredible bands that people should be listening to. But yeah, absolutely, the Hellflowers, the Minges, Kids on Fire. I'd also like to throw the Disorderlies on there. They're great. We have a show coming up later on this year. It hasn't really been announced yet, but I'll go ahead and just say it. The band Old Cross, they're from Portland. They're awesome. And they were one of the first bands we ever played with when we started Crimson Riot. And so it's cool to play with them again. God, there's so many bands. They're all so amazing. Suburban Resistance, also a great band. And the Rumors, yes, of course. The Rumors. And they're killing it right now.
Loud Graves.
And I think the moral of this story is, if you are watching and you're in a band, support other bands. Support the people who are doing what you're doing, because nobody gets there alone. We need each other. We need each other to support one another, to get each other's word out. It's not a competition. It really is it's a collaborative effort to get noticed, especially in today's day and age where there's so many choices. So, if you're in a band, stick around. Don't just play your set and leave. Get to know people and buy their stuff too, and support each other. I'll be honest with you, Roxy, Chris, and Ryan, this has been amazing. Chances are we're going to be doing this again next time an album comes out, or maybe we're doing a preview episode for your festival. We should talk about that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely that. You guys are tremendous. I really appreciate you spending time and going to a whole bunch of different places with me on this. I'm trying to get out to Las Vegas. We'll definitely, I want to do like a Vegas meetup of all these different bands. Maybe we'll go drinking together or something.
That'd be cool.
Ass juice.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Double down
we'll
it
get
is.
PMOS. We'll get PMOS to go out with us, see if we can pull that one off. That would be a fascinating evening.
Absolutely.
You know what? We'll do this we got to have Bear Supply play this though.
Yes.
That's Roxy's in a yacht rock band. Roxy's in a yacht rock band called Bear Supply. So.
Oh,
and they play Double Down.
Here, I thought you said bear spray, and I'm like, what is he? Are you in ice? No.
No.
All right, Bear Supply. I get it. Definitely. You know what? We'll work out coordinating. Maybe we'll get all the bands we talked about on one bill together for one night, because I'm coming to town. Maybe I can host the thing. Who knows? We're going to figure something out. You all have been amazing.
Let's make it happen.
Love Las Vegas. Love what you're doing. Everybody is stuck with us this whole time. I apologize for the voice. One of these days, I am going to get through this allergy season. But it's been great to get to know you all. Go out and support the band. And most importantly, everybody, take some time. Show yourself a little love and compassion for yourself. And then find some people to do the same thing for. We all need it, because we are going through everything in life, no matter where you live and what you're going through. We're doing it together. Be there for one another and care for one another. It's more important than ever. So please do that for me. Do that for Crimson Riot. Do it for yourself. Everybody, it's been great getting to know you. Thanks for hanging. Bye.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks so much.